Hi Cancer, welcome to January and Happy New Year. This is Teresa from Tarot by T. And before I get started on your reading, I want to call in some good energy and create some sacred space for this reading. And I want to say thank you for those who have liked and shared my videos, and for those who have subscribed, welcome. And thank you for leaving comments. I really appreciate you taking the time to leave feedback. And for those who've ordered readings, thank you. I appreciate your support. And I enjoy working with all of you. So let's see what's coming up for Cancer for the month of January. We have a full moon, a new moon in Capricorn, and that's falling in your relationship sector, your 7th house. And we have and that's on January 5th. And then we have a new moon. And actually that's a solar eclipse, so that's going to be important. The energies of the eclipse will last for 6 months. And then a full moon eclipse in Leo. And that will fall in your 2nd house. Although it's at 0 degrees, so it still might be in your 1st house. Depending on how your cusps, the degrees of the cusp. But anyway, that's going to be at the end of January, the 20th, 21st. So let's see what the cards have to say about Cancer. What's coming up in January that Cancer needs to know about love, life, anything important. Love, career, anything important in life. What are the energies for January? What is the focus for January? The 10 of Wands, the 7 of Cups, the Knight of Cups, the King of Swords, the 2 of Swords, the 5 of Pentacles, the 4 of Swords, the Tower, the Fool, and the 4 of Wands. Well, this is good. So you start the month off, you're going to be going through some changes, but also new beginnings in January. So the 10 of Wands, you've been really carrying a heavy burden. You might have been working really hard at work. But the good news is with the 10, excuse me a second. I have a frog in my throat. With the 10 of Wands, you're coming to the end of the burden that you've been carrying for a long time, and you're ready to put it down. The only question is now, where do I go next? Now that I've put this burden down, now that I've ended something that was really difficult, and maybe you've been working really hard and you've come to some type of completion or finishing some project, or whatever responsibilities that you've taken on, you're ready to, they're finishing, and you're ready to just put it down. The load that you're carrying is going to get lighter. So that's the good news. With the 7 of Cups, you have a lot of choices. You may be stuck in the choices. I feel like you're on the edge of a transition into better times, but you're considering your options right now. So you're not actually taking action. You're just thinking, okay, what's out there? Where do I go next? Because anything is open to you. With the 7 of Cups, you have many options open to you. So it's up to you now to decide what is the one that really speaks to me. What is the path that I must follow now? And that could be relationship. It could also be career. So right now you're kind of starting the month stuck in the choices. Just dreaming about what the possibilities, but not actually taking action. The Knight of Cups is in your recent past, your past. So you may have had, this is usually an offer of love or a romantic partnership, a romantic proposal. But for some reason you're not accepting it, or you're sitting it out. You're waiting to see what you want to do about it. The Knight of Cups, you may have connected with someone. It could be a water sign also. Someone that feels like a karmic connection. Someone who's very creative, very emotional, maybe a little bit immature at times, or someone who is dreaming of this perfect love or this perfect relationship. And maybe that's you too. Maybe you're looking for something for your dream lover. So you're either giving a romantic proposal to someone, you're either, initiating something, or you're receiving something from someone. And if you're receiving, it could be someone that was out of your life for a while and is coming back, or has recently returned. You may have reestablished contact with this person, and maybe you're trying to decide, do I get involved again or not? Do I want to get involved with this person? Because you have the King of Swords here. Now this can represent an air sign, someone that you know. So some of you might be dealing with water signs and also air. So air would be Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. Water would be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. There's also a possibility that there's some legal situation that has ended. So if you were in some type of legal conflict or battle, that's coming to an end. And you might have already had that resolved. That's why you're putting your burdens down. The other way that this card could represent, this is also a card of dealing with someone who is like an authority figure, someone who may be harsh or judgmental. Maybe you're deciding to let someone like that go. You might have been involved with someone that you felt was being too hard on you and not being fair, maybe too harsh. And you may have decided, you might be deciding to leave that relationship or leave that person. This is an influence that's passing, it's fading. So there could be a new relationship that you have a lot of hopes about, or you're dreaming about it. You haven't actually, I don't think you've actually engaged in this relationship, but it's part of your fantasy. You're fantasizing about this person. And you're thinking about letting go. Some of you might be just thinking of letting go of this harsh energy. It could also be energy within yourself, that comes from a parental figure. You might have negative self-talk that comes from a parent. Maybe you felt like a parent was harsh with you when you were growing up, and it's caused you to, it's affected the way you interact with people. So you're leaving that behind, so that's good. The other thing about this card is using discernment. Trying to separate what's real from what's not real. Because here you're in fantasy land with the Seven of Cups. And you really need to, before you can make your decision, you have to really think of the choices and think, what is the best choice for me? Without over-romanticizing the situation. Because you may have a tendency to be idealistic at this time. So you have to, this is a card that's telling you also, look at this situation realistically. Don't let yourself get carried away by some Disneyland, fantasy. See if you can, whether it's a relationship or a career situation, you want to make sure that what you're seeing is real. That you're not just dreaming or seeing or pasting a fantasy on someone, and you're not really seeing the person for who they are or the situation for who they are, for who it is. So that's the card, the message of this card. Before you make your choice, consider all your options and use logic and intellect in making the decision. Don't just rely on your emotions, which can be a little bit distorted at this time. The Two of Swords is coming up and the Five of Pentacles. So I feel like you're on the fence again, trying to make a decision. it's almost like you're wanting to reach out to someone, but you're waiting for them to make the first move. Like, you're kind of on the fence, like, I don't know. If you've had a falling out with someone, neither person is moving forward. You might be both interested in a relationship, but you're not, no one is taking that first step. No one is going out on a limb. And you know, for Cancer, Cancer has a fear of rejection. So you might be saying, well, I don't know, because especially with this Five of Pentacles, you may feel that you're not good enough or you're not worthy, like maybe the person's out of your league. But those are just your fears. Those are just your insecurities. It's not really the case. Or you could also, this could be also a financial situation, like you're feeling cut off. So I feel like you're in a situation of retreat because you have the Four of Swords here. You might be healing from something that you've gone through. Maybe you've been through a period of stress and now you're resting. You just don't want to actively engage with anything right now. You just want to heal. And you might be feeling a little bit isolated, maybe even a little depressed. And you're kind of wishing that the other person would take the first step, that would initiate something. So you're kind of waiting. You're in kind of like a waiting period. The Tower in your environment. You've come through a period of major change. And if you're involved in a relationship, so this could be like change of job, change of way of life. You might have moved. A relationship could have ended and you're starting a whole new scene. Whatever it is, the Tower has broken down something that was no longer serving you. Something that was coming to the end of the line. And so whatever has changed, whatever you have gone through, it was a good thing, even though at the time it felt traumatic. It's clearing out, the Tower is clearing out the old so that you could have a new beginning. Because look at this Fool. You had the Fool card here. This is in your hopes and wishes. So you have a chance for a new beginning, a brand new beginning. So if it's a relationship, you might have ended, one relationship might have ended in a traumatic way or a dramatic way. And now you're free to begin a whole new cycle. And this cycle could bring you much happiness. You have the Four of Wands here. The Four of Wands represents stability, marriage, victory. So for some of you, it could be a relationship that has ended and you're ready to embark on a whole new cycle or a whole new relationship with someone. For others, it could be a career situation. You're ending one way of life and you're beginning a whole new career or a whole new path. And it could feel a little bit scary. Like you might be starting a whole new career path that you don't have a lot of experience in. So you're out of your comfort zone. And that's where this card comes in, because sometimes you might feel like, I don't know if I will be accepted, if I have the skills I need to start this new life, to start this new career path. But you'll do fine. You have the outcome as the Four of Wands. So no matter what you're going through in January, my advice is to don't stress yourself out. Don't doubt your abilities. If something needs to pass away from your life, let it go. Don't try to hold on to something that is obviously not working. If you're in a situation where you're not happy, let go. Just let it go. Don't dwell on the past. Don't dwell on your losses. Embrace the new. The Fool here is giving you a new lease on life, especially with these eclipses. They could be... they can bring in sudden change, sudden conditions, and that you weren't prepared to deal with, and you have to deal with them. But the outcome is positive. You have the Four of Wands here, so it's going to shake you. It may shake your world up a little, but in the end, you're going to land in a great place. So let's see what the astrology has to say. So don't worry, and you may want to drop your guard with the Two of Swords here. So if there's someone you're interested in, maybe you want to send up a smoke signal. Or if there's some situation that you've been avoiding to deal with, you want to drop your guard and be vulnerable. Be a little bit more vulnerable. Don't be so harsh. Maybe you're presenting this harsh face to the world and you need to be a little bit softer, more approachable. And you'll see how things might change. So for Cancer, you have this new moon in your 7th house, and it's a solar eclipse. So something could be eclipsed from your life. A relationship could just end, or a new relationship can begin. Whatever starts, you have Saturn, Pluto, the moon, the sun. Whatever you're starting that's new and exciting, it can last for a long time, and it can really transform your life in a major way. You know, the Tower isn't always disaster. The Tower can represent major change, transformation. It's almost like you're rebuilding. Like maybe you're just starting over. Rebuilding your life as if almost like from scratch, you know. It can be exciting if you're open to change. It doesn't have to be a disaster. And Neptune is in your 9th house. It's sextiling the moon. So, and the sun, and let's see, Pluto. Yeah, Neptune is sextiling. It's in Pisces, sextiling Pluto, Saturn, the sun, the moon. So Neptune is, and with all these planets in Capricorn, that represents stability and building something solid that will last. You have the potential to create a dream, to realize a dream or a goal. It may involve a lot of work, and it may totally change your life, but for the better. You have Venus in the 5th house, so romance is on. If you're looking for love, if you're not involved with anyone, you could have the potential for romance in January. And there could also be some surprises in career, because you have Uranus and Mars in your 10th house. So it could also, for some of you, it could be a career change, or a sudden promotion, or a sudden opportunity that comes up, and you wind up taking a new path. Because with Uranus, you never know. Mars in your 10th house is making you very ambitious. You have a lot of energy there. So you want to get ahead in life. Maybe you want to earn more money, or you want to get more recognition. Uranus brings surprise. Uranus will free you from stagnation. So if your current career path is not satisfying, or if it's too limiting, Uranus will come in to, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's going to free you. So it could work either way, because the 10th house can also, even though it's mostly for career and life path, it can also mean a change in status, where you go from married to single, or single to married. It's your public, whatever's happening, it's public. So it's going to be very visible. You can't hide these changes. Everyone will know about it. So maybe that's why you're trying to choose carefully. But it looks good. Your life is, you're on the edge of major change. Major transformation. And a whole new path. And you can release your burdens. You can release your isolation. That's coming to an end. Now the full moon. The full moon's happening in your 2nd house. And the sun will be in your 8th house. And again, your 10th house is activated, because this full moon is squared by Uranus. So there could be some money issues on the table, or self-esteem issues. Maybe you're finally going to get a position that pays you what you're worth, or you're going to demand that. You're going to demand, your self-esteem is going to be affected. You may feel like, you know, I want to be valued, I want to be loved, I want to be paid what I'm worth. But there is going to be change in your life direction, in your career path. You might get sudden recognition. You might be taking an unconventional career path, something that involves technology. You have Venus is squaring Mars and at this full moon. And Mars is in Aries. So, let me see, Venus is going to be in the 6th house. So you're going to be getting along with coworkers. You might even, there could be some kind of romantic involvement at work. You want to be careful with that. Because Venus is squaring Mars in the 10th house. I mean, there'll be there might be some like sexual attraction at work, but you want it, that may come, and feelings may come up suddenly. But you want to be careful, because with Uranus there, it could be one of those things that starts suddenly and ends suddenly. So just be careful that you're not acting too hastily. On the other hand, you're going to start to feel your values may be changing. The full moon in Leo is at the 0 degree point. Usually full moons represent a culmination or an ending. But when the sign is at the 0 degree point, it's almost 1 degree, it's in between 0 and 1. It represents a new cycle starting. And the new cycle in Leo, it means that, you have to do something that really speaks to who you are. You need to get the recognition for the work that you've been doing. You can't just do something just for the money. It has to, really be something that expresses your creativity. So you have this opportunity. You're going to have this opportunity to have a new beginning where you can feel that you're being more creative, that the work that you're doing is more of a truer expression of your talents and your abilities. So there could be, so I'm seeing changes in work and maybe life direction, sudden opportunities in love and relationships. And the 7th house also represents partnerships, business partnerships. So if it's not a love relationship that's happening in January, it could be that you're forming a really beneficial business partnership. You're joining forces with someone, and it's going to be exciting, and it's going to bring victory and stability. Maybe you're starting a business or taking a different direction and partnering with a whole new environment, a whole new path. So major changes are coming, Cancer, but they're good. The end result is good, and you won't be working as hard. You won't have that stress. A lot of stress, usually you have stress when you're trying to make a decision. But once you make the decision, then the stress is over, because, okay, I've made the decision. I'm just going to go with it. But up until that point of making the decision, that's when you're carrying the heaviest load, the heaviest burden, because you want to make the right decision. And you will. Don't be afraid to embrace the new. Release what's no longer serving you. Roll with any changes. If something gets, like I said, if something is destroyed or something gets revised in a way that it gets rebuilt, if there's changes happening, don't worry about the changes. Embrace the new path that's opening up as a result of these changes, because that's going to lead to success, victory, happiness, stability. So don't worry. Don't be afraid to make that decision and change and make that move. So I hope you've enjoyed this reading, Cancer, and I wish you much luck, love, and success in the coming year. If you'd like a private reading, just click on the link in the description box, and we can get you scheduled. In the meantime, enjoy your month of January, and I will talk to you again next month. Okay, bye now.